Hi, I'm Johnny Torres, and thanks for watching. Today we're talking scalp micropigmentation. Joining me is one of the experts in this new field, Jose Santiago. How you doing?
Pretty good, John.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So tell me, what exactly is scalp micropigmentation?
All right, so scalp micropigmentation is basically a non-invasive, permanent solution to balding.
Okay.
It basically gives you that illusion that you can grow hair, but it really doesn't grow. But as you can see here, it's basically a small needle that makes little follicle impressions in your skin to make it look just like a hair follicle when you shave. When you shave your hair, it looks just like that.
Yeah, well, and before we get a little deeper into the technique, right, let's talk about how you got here and what is it that drove you into doing scalp micropigmentation?
Well, it all started, I guess, about my early 20s. I was already bald. I started balding. Obviously, I already knew I was going to bald. I had balding on both sides of my family. My dad was bald, and
Sure.
all my uncles were bald. Everybody that I knew that was a male was bald in my family, so I already
You knew it was coming.
I knew it was coming. It was like Christmas. It was going to land right on my head. So right around the age of 23, I basically just started shaving. I didn't want to try to save it. I didn't want the awkward stuff in my hair. I didn't want to use any hair pieces or anything like that. So I was just like, you know what, just go with it. I'm just going to shave. So I embraced it, and I told myself, you know, whatever, this is basically my new image.
Sure.
And then after a few years, I started with social media and all that. I ran into scalp micropigmentation. I saw pictures on Instagram and Facebook and all that, and I started seeing it. I started looking into it. I'm like, wow, this really looks good. So I was looking at these before and afters. I'm like, it looks just like hair.
Yeah.
It squares off the face. It sort of frames out the face, and it gives you that illusion that you can grow hair. So I started looking a little deeper into it, and then I brought it to my wife's attention. I was like, hey, come here, check this out. What do you think about this? And she thought it was pretty cool. So I finally got so curious. I was like, you know what? I am going to do this. I'm going to get this done. And not only am I going to get it done, I think I also want to get involved a little bit more into it. I actually want to maybe learn a little bit about it.
Well,
So,
you saw also the potential and the life-changing abilities of a procedure like this.
oh yeah, I started seeing the testimonials and just the difference. It just was taking like 10 years off of guys.
Yeah.
You know, when you don't have a hairline and all you got is the hair on the side, this sort of gives you the older image. And I was in my 20s, you know, so I was looking like I was in my late 30s. So
Just because you didn't have hair.
just because I didn't have hair.
Sure.
And you know, it's bad. You know, you try to say that it really doesn't bother your confidence levels, but it really does. It sort of makes you feel like everybody's looking at your head and they're not really focusing on who you are. So it's like the whole time you have eye contact talking to somebody, in their mind they're thinking bald.
Well, you see
Guy's
the eyes
bald.
darting
You know what
around.
I mean?
You
Yeah,
see
you
that
get-
they don't have that focus
Yeah,
on
you don't
you.
have the eye contact. You're talking and they're just like, you know, they're basically looking at you like, hey, that's the bald guy, you know. And then once I got the procedure done, and then, you know, I'm not the bald guy anymore. My face is framed out. I look younger. People are actually interacting with me in conversations. I'm getting more attention. It's like, I don't know, it just motivated me to be a better person. I joined the gym. I started working out, cleaned up my diet. It's like, it just sort of just
Motivated you.
yeah, it just makes you want to lift your head up high, pull your shoulders back. I'm like, yeah, now I can move on beyond having to think about my hairline and people looking at my hairline all the time. You
Yeah.
know? So,
And how long ago did you get started with this?
it was about 5 years ago.
Yeah, because this is a fairly new trend.
Oh, yeah.
But it's growing, faster every single day.
Yeah, so this is a trend that started over in Europe, UK, London. So this is basically something that was being done over there. And you had some people in the US, they took it, they made some adjustments, they made it better, and it just keeps on evolving. It keeps getting better and better.
Well, and as this becomes a more mainstream procedure that people get done, as you said, the technology and the techniques are going to get better.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, as the years go on, I mean, we got better machines, we got better needles, we have better pigments, and all of those are very important just to have the most natural procedure
Yeah.
look for us.
And now, one of the reasons we're talking here today is because you are now wanting to pass on your experience and your knowledge to other people. Why do that?
Well, it became, I've done hundreds and hundreds of procedures. I've been doing this for quite some time, and I've been changing a lot of lives, and I've been able to see the effect that this has. And what better way to make this grow, allow this to grow, by helping other people, teaching them how to do the procedure so they can go and spread the love and give hairlines. I'm only one person. I can only do so many jobs.
Yeah.
So I basically created a training system that, how do you say it? Basically focuses on teaching people that are already passionate about something that's related to S&P. So we have barbers
Yeah.
in the business. You know, barbers now. You know, the whole barbering world industry is so different. We got so many passionate barbers. They're like celebrities in the whole barber industry world. It's just a whole different world. Just to see passionate barbers, you know, in the business, they know so much about hairlines. They know so much about blending. It's an art.
They see it every day, right?
It's an art. So
Yeah.
they see it every day. They're passionate about, you know, they're changing lives already. They're able to make somebody look brand new with just a haircut, you know?
Well, and this is more of a technique, and it's
Yeah.
more of a technical procedure, right? It's not necessarily a creative procedure, which is why it may not necessarily be fair to call it what some say a scalp tattoo, right?
Yeah, you know, the word scalp tattoo is basically used just to describe it, sort of reference it as what it is. It's the closest thing people are going to see. We're like, wow, it's a machine. It looks like a tattoo machine. It looks like a tattoo needle. But in fact, it is not. It's a different size needle that is not used in tattooing, and it's a different machine that's not used in tattooing.
Right.
And the pigments are very different. So you might have some situations where people think, oh, it's just a tattoo.
Sure.
I'm going to go to my local tattoo artist and I'm going to get this done. And what ends up happening is a botch job.
Sure.
So you have a tattoo artist that uses a regular needle, which is a lot bigger, regular tattoo ink, which is a lot darker, and then they end up with a lot of big dots, sort of like birthmark looking
Okay.
things on their head. And
Well, and if you
unfortunately-
do an easy search online, you see plenty of those botched jobs of people
Yes,
who've gone to
yes.
a tattoo artist versus someone who is trained in scalp micropigmentation.
Yeah, and that's another reason. That's probably my main drive to educate people is I've had a lot of botch jobs come into my office. These guys come in broken down. They wear hats from the point they wake up. They have their hats on their nightstand because they got botched. Now they have these big blotches on their head. I had some guys come in on the point of suicide. You know, you got to understand this is on their head. So they were already broken down because they were dealing with balding.
Yeah.
Now they have this botch job on their head that the only solution is laser, and sometimes laser doesn't even work.
Well, and they've just compounded the problem.
Yeah, now they just stacked a bigger problem onto it. So now they're dealing with having to get it lasered, and it's session after session, and it's very painful.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of people in the industry that are doing these botch jobs because they think that they know, but they're getting involved simply because of the money. They
Sure.
think, oh, I want to make this type of money, so I'm going to start doing it. And then they just pick up a machine. They're not educated properly. There's a lot of people offering training. They just want to get involved in the training because of the money, or they want to be involved in the lucrative industry. And then they end up training wrong, giving wrong needles, wrong pigments, wrong education. And then they're just going out there, and there's more and more botch jobs out there.
Well, you've done hundreds of procedures before you even started training a single person. And that's obviously a testament to your expertise.
Yeah, and that's a big thing that I like to tell clients and students. When you're looking for somebody to educate you, you want to make sure it's somebody that's been in the industry for a few years. You want to make sure it's somebody that has hundreds and hundreds of procedures under their belt, different skin types, different situations, scars. It could be alopecia. there's multiple different situations that you want to be able to educate your students on.
Yeah.
So
Well, and that was one of the things that, this isn't just for bald guys. I mean, if you've had maybe a head injury or that left a scar, maybe it is a health condition that's left you with some baldness in certain
Yes,
areas.
yes.
This is a great way to fill in those areas, right?
Exactly. So you have alopecia. I've had clients that had tumors removed from their brain, and they have these large scars, accidents. There's many situations that leaves them with bald spots and scarring that's visible, and they want to get that taken care of. So scalp micropigmentation is a perfect solution for that. And that's why when you're choosing who would I want to train me, you want somebody that can train you on all those situations, because you want to be prepared when that client walks through your door. You want to be able to be like, you know what, all right, I learned this at S.T.A.R.
Yeah.
I'm already prepared. I know how to handle the situation. Versus somebody that's only been in the business for a year. They're not going to be able to teach you about different skin types, what to expect if the skin has a certain reaction, what to do. You want to be prepared for all that. So.
Well, and in addition, you're still doing procedures. You're not only doing training, you continue to do procedures on a daily basis.
That's correct, yeah. In between my trainings, right now we're traveling, I'm touring all over the U.S. We're going global. This year, 2018, is going to be huge for S&P industry as far as Scalp Tattoo Artist Resource. But in between, yes, I do procedures still.
Yeah.
We got a large market now. We're doing celebrities, we're doing a lot of athletes.
Well, and that also creates the opportunity for you to continue to further your education and stay up to date on the techniques and the new products and the new procedures that are out there.
Exactly. I'm always evolving. I'm always trying to find what's best. What can make this procedure better? I mean, honestly, the results cannot get any better than what they are right now. But can we make it more efficient? Can we make it where it can be faster or less painful on the client?
Yeah.
Or for the students, like what type of manual can I give my students where they can learn better, where they can absorb what they're learning? So that's why every 3 months I'm constantly changing my manual. I got so many different editions. Right now we're coming out with the 2018 edition. It's gonna have a lot of information from pigments, from hairlines to you name it, skin types. Everything's gonna be in there from the consultation, from the moment your client walks in through the door. This manual is gonna educate you on how to handle it, aftercare, everything. So this is gonna be like the student's Bible of S&P. So,
Well, and you don't just take anybody into your training sessions as well, right? You have a screening process.
Exactly. Scalp Tattoo Artist Resource has a screening process, a pre-screening process. Basically, this isn't going to be for everybody. Not everybody's going to be good at this. And I looked at the best S&P artists in the U.S. and the world, and I was thinking, I'm like, what makes these guys the best? How can we make more artists like these guys? Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest things is passion. You got to be passionate about what you do. So one of the things I look for when I choose who I want to train is, are they passionate about something already? So let's say in the barber industry, like I was talking about earlier, a lot of guys are passionate about their work. They're taking pictures, they're phenomenal at it, they like posting it, they want to get better and better. So once they conquered that, and then they're trying to improve, just like I'm trying to improve. Microbladers are phenomenal at what they do. Yeah. They got a good eye. They can look at you and say, this is the type of eyebrow that's going to make you look amazing. So they're artistic. They want to be better and better. The way they take their photos, they just focus on, all right, this job is going to be my best job yet. I treat every job like, this job is going to be my best job. Watch this. This is going to be my best job. And you can sense that in a student when you know that they're going to be that passionate student that's going to take it to the next level.
Right.
Now, when you get somebody that comes in and they just like, well, I just want to make money or whatever. Okay, well, what's your background? I do this and that. Do you have any artistic background?
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I have trained students that have no background in the field, but they're artistic and they turned out to be
Have a
phenomenal.
natural ability.
A
at
natural
it. Yeah.
ability. But that's why we have a pre-screening, and we talk to them, and we sort of feel out. We have a test that they take beforehand. I'm not going to be like these other companies that are just taking the clients, potential students' money, just so they can just fill up a class or have them out there, provide them with a kit and a certificate, and then they're going to be out there doing botch jobs.
Because you do more harm to the industry because you're putting out people that aren't going to do quality jobs.
Yes, exactly. And that's going to just ruin the industry. I mean, it's to the point where every consultation I have with a client, they come in and they're sort of already scared. They're like, hey, I saw these pictures online of these botch jobs. I'm like, is this going to happen to me? Are you that guy that's going to botch me? And I'm just like, the more botch jobs that are out there, the more the client is gonna fear to get this solution done. And this is a great solution. This is like the best thing that has ever happened to me.
Yeah.
It gave me my confidence back. It gave me financial stability. It gave me the opportunity to offer training to others. So it has been great to me, and it would be very, very bad just to have somebody that did a bad job just ruin the industry.
If someone is interested in either taking part in a training or maybe they're looking to get this procedure done, what's the best way to educate yourself on distinguishing between great scalp micropigmentation artists out there and maybe some phonies?
It's a good question. You got to be careful. There's a lot of traps out there. There's good artists out there too. There's good trainers out there. As far as doing research, you just want to maybe find somebody that you sort of respect their work. Just look back at their work and sort of try to be like, wow, I love his work. I want to be taught by him. I want to learn his techniques the way he does it because I feel his work is probably the best. Now, as far as trying to listen to somebody, there's a lot of blogging. People are creating these things on Facebook where they're sort of trying to send everybody in the right direction. Like, hey, I know everything. I'm going to answer your questions. Some of them, they claim to be non-biased, but when somebody is paying you for them to advertise, I mean, you don't become non-biased. So things you want to be careful looking for. If somebody calls himself the scalp guru or something, and then they say, hey, I think this is the best artist in your area, don't really listen to that because he's just recommending somebody that probably paid him big bucks.
Yeah, pay for play is what you're saying.
Yeah, pay for play is obviously, honestly, is probably the exact words that they use.
Yeah.
Pay for play. You want to play, you got to pay. So you got to be careful for those. Just do your own personal research. Go out there, find an artist that you really love. Look at his work, find out if they're training, and just work with them closely.
Now with social media, I mean, they should be posting their work pretty often, frequently, in terms of their before and after pictures.
Exactly. The same with clients looking to get the procedure done. Please take your time and look at their work. Make sure it's very consistent. Make sure they're doing natural hairlines. Make sure they're working on different skin types. You don't want somebody that just does hard hairlines. Yeah. You want somebody that does a little bit of everything. Natural hairlines, hard hairlines, different. They work on all types of skin. So you want to see a little diversity in their work. You want to make sure that they're consistently busy. They're not reposting the same pictures over and over again.
Sure.
You want to make sure that they just have a lot of work and they're busy and
even some referrals.
Yeah. You want to,
But client referrals.
Yeah. Somebody that's already got it done that you can visually see it in person and be like, oh, all right. Now that you've seen it in person, that's another problem too. Some people are posting pictures of other artists' work and they're trying to claim it's theirs.
Sure.
I've had that problem a lot, and it still keeps happening where people are taking my pictures and saying, hey, it's my work. That's why you got to make sure you put watermarks on your pictures or whatnot, just to make sure nobody's stealing your work and trying to say it's their work. But you got to be very careful. I always tell my clients, zoom into the work. Make sure you don't see any blowouts. Make sure you see nice, crisp hair follicles, and make sure it's very consistent.
You talked about financial stability, and also you kind of tied it back to barbers who have been a good amount of your students. Did you have that barber shop background?
Yeah. I feel like we all sort of dabbled in the barber industry as teenagers. When I was young, I always, everybody's getting haircuts like every week. Everybody's getting fades and stuff like that. I wasn't that fortunate. My mother used to take me to a salon like every 3 months. So I would be in school with this big hairdo, and the kids were always like, "Jose, get a real haircut, man." I'm like, "Come on, man." I was like, "Mom, you take me to a barbershop?" She never wanted to take me to a barbershop or whatever.
Yeah.
So I ended up buying a pair of clippers, and I learned how to cut my own hair.
Okay.
So once I learned how to cut my hair, I had younger siblings. I started cutting their hair, and then
Sure.
I had friends. They started coming over. So I was that basement barber that we used to cut hair
Right.
on Fridays for $5.
And
So I got into that, and I loved that. But it just didn't pay off for me at the time, and I had to get another job. So I never really stuck to it in there.
Sure, but you had an early interest in it.
I always had the interest in it. I loved it. It just at the time I was.
Now again, for a barber that may be interested in doing this, I mean, it's not just additional income. This could be your primary source of revenue. Is that right?
Exactly. And I talked to a lot of barbers, and I'm glad I've been able to really help barbers out. When you're barbering, you got to basically calculate like how many heads do I got to work on, to make sure I can pay the rent this month or whatever.
Sure.
How many hours do I got to work or whatnot, With the S&P industry, you can basically work on one person and you can take care of your overhead. Every person after that's going to be solid profit.
Sure.
So this is a cosmetic procedure. This isn't something this is next level.
This isn't a $30 cut,
exactly.
right at the shop.
So basically, you're giving them your best, your artistic. You're giving them their hairline back, their confidence back. It's not just, it's not a haircut that's going to last a week. This is going to last a lifetime. So
Sure.
You're giving that person a lifetime of confidence. So the prices range anywhere from $1,200 up to $5,000
For the procedure.
Okay. Depending on how bald they are.
Yeah.
So, and I always tell every student, I was like, man, if you can't at least get 1 to 2 clients in a month, and then you're just not doing anything.
Just not trying too hard.
You're just not trying hard enough.
Sure.
And the great thing about people that are already in the industry, like barbers and microbladers, they already have clientele.
Yeah.
They already have those guys that are already balding. And then next thing you know, like, hey, I'm offering S&P now. Guess what? You already got 5 guys already lined up that want to get it. Like, hey, I'm next.
Yeah, they come for that cut, every couple weeks or every few weeks.
For example, I just did a class out in Bristol last week, 17 students. And it's been about 8 days. Out of those 17 students, I already have 10 students that are already doing work, already did jobs, already sending their pictures, already making money.
That's amazing.
They already made back that initial investment. They already made it back. Now, in what business can you make back your initial investment and start making profit within a week?
Yeah, no, that's a great point.
There's not many.
And so right here behind us, we have a line of products. And of course, you wouldn't put your name on it if you didn't believe in the products that you're selling here. What are we seeing here in terms of the quality of the products? And obviously, this is really what they need to do these procedures, right?
Exactly. Yeah, so what I wanted to put together was basically an all-in-one kit. Everything you need to do a procedure. I wanted to put it in one box. I wanted to make it nice looking, lucrative. I wanted something that you can carry with you. These boxes are not only waterproof, you can throw them downstairs, they're shockproof, and I think they just look pretty cool. So I'm big on like opening things and making it feel like it's a gift and making it look pretty cool. So
no, it looks fantastic. And so what exactly are we looking at over here?
All right, so over here we have our machine. This is our rotary machine.
Okay.
Has an adjustable grip. I try to make it as easy for the students as possible. So basically there's no maintenance on this. You don't have to worry about greasing it, changing any springs on it. This has an adjustable grip, so you don't have to take anything apart. You basically just got to put the cartridge in there, it just locks right in, and you're all set.
Excellent.
So these are my needle cartridges. I have these are specially made. This is the smallest needle in the industry. So this small needle is basically what gives you that follicular impression into the skin. It just basically it replicates a skin hair follicle.
Well, and like you said, the difference between a tattoo needle and this kind of a needle is actually pretty significant, especially when you're talking about something you're putting on your head.
Exactly. First of all, like most tattoo needles aren't just one single needle. They're usually in bunches.
Okay.
Or some people use maybe 3 or 5 of them together in a bunch or whatever. But if you were to get like a single one, they would call it in the tattoo world a liner, like a round liner that they would use for outlining.
Okay.
And that needle is probably about twice the size of this.
Wow.
So once that penetrates the skin, there's something called a blowout. And basically what a blowout is when you go sort of too deep, too wide, and it just sort of, the ink sort of spreads underneath the skin.
Oh, wow.
So, and then you end up with something that looks like a birthmark.
A blotch, yeah.
Like a little blotch.
Sure.
And that in some cases it causes hyperpigmentation. Hyperpigmentation is something that basically even a laser can't remove. So
Right.
there's some
'Cause that's under the
situations-
skin, right?
Yeah, it basically becomes the skin's composition,
Okay.
and it's in there forever. So
Now, what about on this side?
let's go back to this side. I got my pigments over here.
Oh, okay. All right, so we didn't
All
talk
right.
about the pigment, but of
Yeah.
course that's the most important part because that's what everybody sees.
Yes, pigments is very important. These are organic charcoal-based pigments. I have my light, medium, and dark based on the client's hair tone and skin tone. Basically, this is how we're going to choose what to use, how to combine them, because these are combined. You can mix your mediums with your lights or your mediums with your dark, depending on the skin tone or the client's hair tone.
Sure, the shade you're going
Yeah,
for.
so we go over that in training, and it's a very unique process on how to get the right shade for the person. It's going to be a very unique. It needs to match perfectly, so you can't see no difference. We also have our line of filter. Filter is basically what you're going to put on after the procedure is done, right before you take any photos. I believe in not taking photos with any type of red.
Okay.
You want to be able to see every follicle, and this is what I tell my clients too when they're searching for the right SMP artist. You want to look at their pictures and be able to zoom in and see a nice, crisp hair follicle. If you can't zoom into a picture and actually see the follicles, that artist probably isn't doing good work. If the skin is red, you can't really tell what's going on. Also, once you remove the redness, you can actually see if there's any light spots that you need to go over before you wrap up that procedure.
Okay.
So that wraps up that side. Over on this side, we have our power supply that basically your rotary machine is going to run off of your power supply, and we have our foot pedal that basically turns the machine on and off.
Okay.
I also included any wires or cables that you need, and our ink wells. That's just basically little cups that hold the pigments.
Excellent. Well, and again, you provide one of these kits for each of your students.
Yes. This comes with our training. So basically, we provide you everything you need. You get certified, you walk out of there with a kit, and you're ready to go. You're ready to start providing services. So you got enough here to do 5 procedures. So basically, out of this kit, you're probably, let's say, the average of 2,500. Let's say you're going to make 2,500 off of each client. Now you got 5 there, so you're making your money back and some.
And let's real quickly before we wrap up talk about the client side. Okay, so the procedure takes about how long?
Average procedure can take about anywhere from 2 to 4 hours.
Okay, and then is it one application? Do I have to come back for a second?
Now, for the quote that I give my clients, and I teach my students to give the quote with 3 sessions. So whatever price you give your client, they get 3 sessions.
Okay.
The first and the second session is a must-have. The first one I always consider like a base coat. The second one is basically they come back a week later after they heal. You want to go back through everything. You also want to give them that 3D effect. Give it that texture. It all comes together. They get the full density they're looking for. And the third one they can use for touch-up within a year.
And that's really what creates the realism, right?
Yeah.
So that when someone sees you, even at the distance I'm sitting from you right now, it looks perfectly natural.
Yeah. You don't want to just throw dots on there. I've seen work where it just looks like dots on the head. You want it to look like actual 3D hair growth, and that's what I teach. It's basically layering. You do it in 2 sessions. You layer it. We sort of change the pigment balance on the second one just so you can have a little bit of a pop.
Sure.
So it gives that a nice texture.
Well, and even looking at a full head of hair, I mean, no 2 hairs are the same color. There's a little variation.
Exactly, and it all depends on how deep the follicle is, and it gives it just different tones. And we just remade hair follicles, and you can tell somebody that this is SMP, and they won't believe it. They're like, no, you're lying. That's hair growth. It almost has a texture to it. Even when you feel it, it actually feels like you have like a little bit of hair coming out.
Sure.
It's insane.
And then recovery time.
So recovery time, S.T.A.R, we have our very own aftercare instructions, and like I said before, I learned it on my own just by dealing with different skin types. Everybody's going to heal differently.
Right.
Everybody has different skin types. I'm able to tell what type of skin type you are, how you're going to heal within the first couple minutes of working on you. That's what I teach my students.
Okay.
All right, when you see this happen, when the skin looks like this is the type of aftercare instructions you want to give them. This is what's going to allow them to heal the best. Now, average time for healing, it's going to be anywhere between probably 4 to 7 days before you want to start working on them again.
Okay.
Now, you get the full 100% healing in about 2 weeks. This is, again, it's very non-invasive. This is going to stay in the epidermis layers, so it doesn't go past 5 layers of skin.
And that's also one of the ways that it's different from a tattoo, is that it also doesn't go as deep as a tattoo.
Yeah, so a tattoo, you're going into the dermal layers. With this, you're staying right on the surface. You're staying right in the epidermis, right on the first probably 5 layers or whatnot.
Yeah.
And that's what gives it that nice crisp look, because if you were to go any deeper than that, it would start to spread and it wouldn't look as crisp.
Excellent. Well, again, for more information on not only the training sessions, but the procedures, I believe the website is scalptattoostore.com.
That's correct.
All right.
ScalpTattooStore.com.
Jose Santiago talking to us about scalp micropigmentation. Thank you so much for watching.